If you're an artist, you've most likely experienced the scenario I'm about to describe. You're sitting there, making a drawing, and things are fine, until they're not. Suddenly, you start to notice more and more mistakes in your artwork. You draw and draw, but you never seem to make any progress. No matter what you try, it never feels like you're getting anywhere, and it feels like you might be stuck like this forever. But worry not, there is a solution. But before I can tell you, we need to understand why this happens. In visual art, one of our most important tools is our power of observation. This is what allows us to translate what we see into a drawing, a painting, a sculpture, etc. One thing you might not be aware of is the fact that your ability to observe naturally increases over time as you age, and even more so when you create art. This might sound counterintuitive because people's eyesight tends to get worse as we get older, but visual acuity isn't what I'm referring to here. We're constantly refining our ability to discern, describe, and differentiate objects. Think of it this way. A baby doesn't know what the heck is going on or what it's looking at half the time, whereas an adult usually does. Hopefully. This has as much to do with our brain development as it does our eyes. And the brain is neuroplastic, meaning it's constantly changing and adapting to fit our current circumstances. The more you do art, the more your brain will be trying to adapt to your ever-increasing abilities, and sometimes your eyes adapt faster than your technical skills. This is what leads to the feeling of all your art being bad. It's because your ability to draw just needs time to catch up. This can happen the other way around too. I'm sure that we've all had times where we surprised ourselves with a piece of art that we made. That's because our eyes need time to catch up with our hand. Now, don't take this as me saying that all art is secretly bad or something. Really, it's quite the opposite. As artists, we are often our own worst critics, and in my opinion, imperfections are what make life interesting, and they can often add to the appeal of a given piece of artwork too. Check out this video, link in description, by Psychra if you want to hear a more in-depth version of this concept that I'm describing. Now that we know why this feeling of stagnation occurs, how do we fix it? Well, in order to do that, I'm going to need to talk about evolution. According to Google, evolution is defined as the process by which animals, plants, and other living organisms are transformed into different forms by the accumulation of changes over successive generations, which is the way that most people understand it. However, the word has a second definition, which is, and I quote, the gradual development of something, especially from a simple to a more complex form. We usually think of evolution in the context of genetic mutations that occur over the course of many generations and millions of years, right? But the crux of this video is, evolution is constant. It happens while you're still alive. It's happening right now. Every living thing is ceaselessly adapting to its environment in order to achieve homeostasis. But since the environment is constantly changing, evolution will never stop. Nothing is permanent. Change is the only constant. Sorry. Got a little bit existential there, but I'm sure you're wondering, how does this all apply to making art? Well, give me a few minutes and I'll tell you. Stuff like this is why it's important to have a growth mindset rather than a fixed mindset. You may be familiar with these terms already, but for those who aren't, they were coined by Carol Dweck and describe dichotomous modes of thinking about one's capabilities in life. Thinking something like, I'm never going to get better at drawing, so there's no point, would be an example of a fixed mindset, whereas someone with a growth mindset would be open to the idea of being able to improve, even if it might require some struggle and hardship to get there. Having a growth mindset is a prerequisite to taking further steps to improve your craft. There are two methods that are the most effective when it comes to getting better at art, and it's only by employing both of them that one can improve efficiently. I'll be giving examples of what worked for me and made my webcomic go from this to this in under a year's time. We can think about improvement in terms of iteration versus innovation. The niche underground YouTuber JReg has a really good video on this, which I'll link in the description. As artists, we can iterate by studying others. In this case, we're not really looking to reinvent the wheel, and instead, we are looking for ways of drawing that translate to appealing and accurate results. We are iterating by contributing to the cultural canon of quote-unquote acceptable art, art that follows the rules of anatomy, perspective, etc., art that strives for realism. We are contributing to something bigger than ourselves when we do this. By following tutorials, you are emulating someone else's way of doing something, and propagating that method, extending its outreach. By iterating, you are reinforcing the status quo. One of the ways I did this is by completing some lessons of Drawbox, a free online art tutorial course. I did this mainly because I wanted to improve my mark making and perspective for my webcomic, and I've got to say, it helped a lot. Now, how do we innovate? By experimenting. By constantly trying new things and altering our process of making art. This could even mean trying entirely new mediums. For example, I'm primarily a visual artist and illustrator, but I have some experience with game development, and it's something I want to return to in the future. Leave a like if you want to see me do a let's play of this video game that I made when I was 17. Doing things the same way every single time is what leads to stagnation. And not only that, but if you innovate enough, you might create a brand new style that ends up catching on and becoming popular. Personally, I'm constantly experimenting when I'm drawing my webcomic. Chapter by chapter, I'm analyzing what I've done wrong and looking for parts of my process that can be changed or added to. And as you can see, it's paid off. If you want to take a look at the full evolution of my art over the course of the past 7 months, click the link in the description to read my comic. In my opinion, you can't be truly effective as an artist unless you're utilizing both of these strategies, and at the same time, practicing regularly. I have another video planned where I'll go into how to make drawing a habit, so stay tuned for that. In some ways, we can innovate by iterating and vice versa. The two modes are two sides of the same coin. It's only through heavy habitual practice that we can use these methods to unleash our full potential. Thank you so much for watching this video. Any and all support truly means the world to me. Comment soup if you made it this far so I know you're a real one. And please let me know what sorts of videos you'd like to see from me going forward. That's all for now. See you in the next one.